And we are live. Voila, we are live. Let's see how long it takes a few of us to get there. I'm trying to get to a place where we can actually share this. You got it on here a little bit early, so I'm glad that you're aboard and watching. If you're watching this in the future, thank you for watching. You can skip forward, I'm sure, till to a point that this actually makes sense. Always, the first few minutes of these live streams always wig me out because it's like I'm not really talking to anyone yet, but I'm talking. So it's like doing a regular. Well, there's Donald Raver. What is up, Donald Raver? Good to see you in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just saw your comment. I try to respond to every single comment that comes through, all the comments, and I've yet to respond to your last one. And hey, man, this Ashton Kutcher's up in here, Uncle Bill. I love that. It's hysterical. Hot. Exactly. Let's talk about the weather. That's what we're going to talk about. Talking about the weather used to be polite conversation. These days it may not be. It really depends on who you're talking to and what the conversation's about. So talking about the weather means we're going to talk about like everything. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about Area 51 and stuff and the storming of Area 51. And if you're going to be a part of the storming of Area 51, anyway, we're going to talk about some cool stuff. I got it. Make sure you share this on Twitter if you get time and invite your friends to this, because there's nothing better than having a full chat room, and it gets crazy. It's a lot of fun. It's good to be back on some live chat. I'm sure my phone will blow up here in a minute and everybody's going to want to talk, because that's what happens every time I go live. So I noticed there's some other people, some of my other favorite YouTubers are going live. So I'm going to do something really quick. I'm basically sharing this on my social media stuff, making sure that the word gets out. And again, I can't thank you guys enough. There's Bill at Strong's Adventures. What's up? Man, I thought about you the whole time I was grilling that chicken the other day. I almost did a shout out, and I thought, okay, would that be a good thing or a bad thing? So if I can give you shout outs in my videos, let me know. I appreciate it, because I would love to give you a shout out on some of those videos, man. That'd be awesome. Especially when we go up in the woods and cook and stuff and talk about your channel and things like that. That'd be really cool. Give me just a moment. I appreciate your guys' patience. We're going to kick off here at 8, but don't go anywhere. Going live. Going live. Welcome. And I don't know why it wants to do that way, but oh well. What are you going to do? See, from what I understand, when you post on Facebook, what happens is that if you don't put it in the comment section, YouTube gobbles it up. Somebody told me that. I think it might have been one of you guys. I'm not sure. And then I did some research, and that's true. It's crazy that Facebook can steal your YouTube views. I don't know how that works. I don't know why they're allowed to do that. But oh well. And say it doesn't help our channel any if we have a full chat room and it's just on Facebook. But tonight it's fine, because I just want to rap with you guys, talk to you a little bit, and see what's going on. We're live and stuff. I am the worst at Twitter. I don't know how you guys are, but I'm like the worst at Twitter. It's better for me never to do. Mountain Man Music, hello, what's up down in God's country? Good to see you. Good to see all of you. And that's what we're going to talk about, is like, you're part of the country, you're part of the world. What's going on in your part of the world? Because, I'm just going to tell you, up around here in Harrisonburg, Virginia, where it never gets hot. I mean, I've been bragging on the weather here for a year, and then all of a sudden this heat wave hit, and now we're smoldering. It's still not as hot as where we're from. I mean, we're 8 or 9 hours south. I mean, 7, 8, 9, depends on the traffic. But way a crow flies, at least 6, 7 hours farther south. That's where we're from. So we're used to hotter weather. And what separates this weather from normal weather here is that there's no break in it. We were on the Skyline shooting a video for Tuesday. Be sure to look out for that one. It's a short but funny video about the Area 51 blitz. It's just a little comical stuff. And we were up there, and it was 87 degrees at one point on the Parkway. Listen, if the Skyline Drive and Blue Ridge Parkway, if it's hot up there, it's hot. I don't care who you are. But again, welcome to our live stream. We're talking about the weather. What is the temperature in your neck of the woods? I'll tell you, I'll put it to you this way. Until today we got a little bit of a reprieve because we had a storm come in, thank God, because, I mean, it was just smoldering. And it's been hot for a few days now. It's just not like that since we've been here, this kind of heat. And so it's just swelling. But what separates it from normal summer is the nighttime. What we were used to last year is you'd have these, oh my goodness, hot days. And then at night, It would cool right down, and you were like, okay, I can handle this. This is awesome. I mean, for what we were used to, it was kind of like opening up the windows, kind of cool. Let me read some comments here. Donald Raver said, Area 51 stuff, storming Area 51 would require an excessive amount of lower body exertion, which most millennials don't do. Oh, gosh. Strong's Adventure, shout out to you, of course, Mountain Man Music. And yes, would love if you did that, very much appreciate it. Okay, I wanted to make sure that that was cool, because I mean, I had all kinds of stuff I was going to say when I was doing the chicken, and I thought, I better ask him first, because I mean, that's what your channel is all about. Trust me, we're going to do that again this weekend when my oldest daughter comes in with her boyfriend Cody. Ann and Cody are coming up, so we're going to go up to the mountains, and I'm going to try, if the heat is not as bad as it has been, we're going to try to slow smoke some chicken. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I want to continue to welcome everybody as you come in. We're getting a slow roll tonight, but it's good to see everybody. I've missed you guys. I've missed these live shows. I think we've got a format. It's not my favorite format. Like the way we're doing this, I would rather schedule them and have them regular. For some reason, those are not working. I need like an expert to help me figure out what I'm doing wrong on that. I think it has something to do with an extra piece of software I need or something. Looking down here, Juan Thomas, always good to see you, brother Juan. Always good to see you. Juan Thomas says it's 95 here, but that's normal, Juan, for your neck of the woods in the summertime. I mean, you go from one extreme to the other, if I'm not mistaken, where it can get blistering cold in the winter. Can it be blistering cold? I guess it can be blistering cold because, you know, the wind, the cold, I don't know, whatever. But you get the cold air in the wintertime, and then you get the hot air in the summer. So Donald Raver says 93 here. I believe it. 85 degrees down in God's country in southeast Kentucky there. The chicken looked great, but I was watching that deer. You know, and the Skyline Drive, you know, there's no hunting on the Skyline Drive. There's no hunting. But on the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is, you know, the other end of the Skyline Drive, you know, you're allowed to hunt, and it's so there is hunting there. But on the Skyline Drive, if you're camping out or if you're doing a picnic like we were doing, they will walk right up to you, and you can't feed them. You know, that's against the law. It is unlawful to feed wildlife. There's signs everywhere, so you can't feed them. But obviously somebody's been feeding them. Somebody's been feeding them. By the way, just to make sure, if there's anything at any point wrong with the sound or anything going on, let me know. We've got some green screen stuff we're experimenting with. On the last video, if you watched our last video, you probably went, Bill, what are you doing? There's dinosaurs and Bigfoot and stuff in this video. And if you've noticed, I've been that's me experimenting, guys. And I apologize if it's annoying, because I'm sure it has been annoying at times. It's me experimenting on what kind of works in the flow, and to kind of not necessarily say, okay, our videos are boring, trying to spruce it up. But there are times and occasions where green screen stuff is a lot of fun, and it would make the video more entertaining. Over excess, obviously, like I've been doing, is sort of like, okay, that's not my style. I agree. But I'm trying to learn as much as I can. So be patient with me for a little while longer on that. Current travels and other stories. Hey, welcome, by the way, man. I'm glad you're here with our live show. Thank you so much for being here. It says 90s over here last week, and it reached triple digits in Georgia, because it's Georgia. Georgia, to me, is hotter than Florida. And it's weird. I meant to say this in another video about the weather. It was like we lived right above the Georgia line in Hickson, Tennessee. So you like go to Chattanooga, you're in Georgia, okay? But Ringgold, Georgia always felt hotter to me than any other part of that area. I don't know why. Or East Ridge, Tennessee, where it goes over into Georgia. That area always feels so hot. So if you're from that area, give me a thumbs up, man, and let me know you're here. I'm glad that you're here. But yeah, Georgia's hot. Down there in Macon, around Macon, Valdosta, that area, I mean, blistering hot. And you don't have the benefit of any type of ocean breeze. Jekyll Island's pretty awesome, and you know, around Georgia. Because you always have that ocean breeze. It's an island, so that's not too bad. It's not too hot. Mountain Man Music says the Bigfoot was hilarious. And again, we're talking about the green screens I used in the last video. I thought the Bigfoot thing was hilarious. What I did is I kept looking for free green screens that you would put in the video, and anything that I got a kick out of, I tried to cram it in there. Anything I found. I almost dug into like archive footage just to use more green screen. I thought, no, people are just going to roll their eyes, so I quit. Chad Lee says, nice and toasty down here in LA. Hey, how you doing, Chad Lee? It's always good to talk to my old friend Chad. I miss you, man. I need you up here, buddy. Need you up here. You need to move. No, I'm just kidding. But we miss you. You down here in LA, it's that hot. I bet LA is Louisiana, by the way, not Los Angeles, but Louisiana. Did you move down there like permanently? Because I didn't know if you were moving down there. Brad Philpott says South Georgia, South Alabama, Middle Florida, all the same temp. That's about right. That's about right. I was talking to a friend of the channel's Mark. He comes on here and joins us occasionally. Great guy. Becoming good friends over the past few months. Just talking. He's from Boston. He's been working around metal in a metal building and just cooking up there in Boston. And Boston, it doesn't get hot in Boston, but it's hot in Boston. Chad Lee, man, we got a dean of students. We have Chad Lee, Dr. Chad Lee, by the way. He's got his doctorate in chemistry. So proud of you, Chad. And Chad is like the dean of students, and he's in our chat room. Whoop, whoop. This is a collegiate. Do you feel the smarts coming at you? Are you feeling the intelligence? You feeling it? No? Okay, well, Chad, just stay close to Chad. It might jump off on you, and you might just get smarter. He's one of the smartest people I know. So Chad Lee says, bring me up to preach for. You know what, Chad? We need to do that. We need to do that. Got a great church, and it's a great place. Great place. You'd love it up here, too. Need to bring up here in the fall or the spring. I'd like to bring up about 20 of our buddies up here. Just do something awesome. It'd be great. Mountain Man Music says, nice that Chad leave. And Mountain Man Music says, I better leave. Don't leave. No, don't leave. Hey, listen, man, I'll tell you something. The smartest people I know surround themselves with people who are smarter than they are. That's what I try to do, because I know that I start failing if I surround myself with people who aren't smarter than me. I start failing. I want to put the smartest people around me. I want to be the dumbest person in the room, because that's how I learn the most. Looking just here at more of the at the comments. Thanks, Bill. I appreciate that. It has been blistering hot. And then in the news earlier this week, and I've got a video that's going to kind of poke fun at this as well. There was this Facebook page that kind of went viral. I mean, when's the last time you heard of a Facebook page going viral? That was hilarious to begin with. But this Facebook post was basically, we're going to storm the gates of Area 51. And I was like, nice. I guess because I've served in the military, and I served on a weapons base where it was a chemical weapons facility at the time. It's no longer a functioning chemical weapons facility. But, you had the signs all around the post there saying authorize. What was it? Authorize. I can't remember what it is. In other words, we were allowed to engage if anybody stepped foot on that area. And I just can't imagine the Area 51 thing. I'm serious. It cracks me up of people actually thinking that just because you get maybe, 10,000 people to surround Area 51 and storm Area 51, that you think that that's going to be a problem for the military to take care of. I'd love to hear your opinions about that. To just jump in. I got a real kick out of that. Man, I think turkey shoot comes to mind. And I'm thinking if all of the stuff that people have said before is stored at Area 51, do you really think they're worried about 10, 25,000 people burning up in the hot sun? Because think about it, this is September. I think that's when the date was allegedly there. It's satire. They weren't serious, but a lot of people that joined the page thought it was serious. They took it seriously. They were packing their bags, and they said that there was a jump in flights to Las Vegas during that time period. It was cracking me up. But if they're storing all the secret stuff that they say that they're storing there, do you really want to try to look for aliens at Area 51? Is that your plan, to storm the base? I just got a kick out of that. Catch up here in the comments. Chad Lee says, I know you were behind the storming of Area 51 to see those aliens. No, nope. Too many highly trained professionals that surround that base. I'm not, I get a kick out of stuff when it comes to the aliens, Bigfoot scene. I get a kick out of it, but no. I trust that if the government wanted me to know about aliens that bad, they'd tell me. They wouldn't hide them in the middle of the desert when it's 105 degrees. I'm catching up here again. I'm trying to get out of the habit of saying, I can edit that out of videos, but it's very difficult to edit that out of live stream because it's live. Oh, the use of deadly force is authorized. That's right. That's what's printed on the side. I always forget that the use of deadly force. That's terrible. That means they are allowed to use deadly force. And I don't know when the last time you saw an Army movie or a war movie, but they can put some bullets down range, man. They can really put some bullets. Mark, I was just talking about you. Mark. I said, I was talking about you having to work around metal and how you've been miserable because the building just gets so hot. It's just miserable. I sent you a Facebook back, by the way. By the way, you guys can join our Facebook page at Bill, Marion Life. And I try to respond to everybody. Sometimes it takes me a couple of days because we manage about 14 different Facebook pages. So sometimes I get confused and think I've answered this one and it's not this one. So it might take me a few days, but I answer everybody. So, and I've known Mark now for several months. Mark says, I have my aluminum hat on and I'm going to Area 53. I wanted to name my video Area 52 for Tuesday, and I didn't think anybody would get it. I thought it'd go right over most people's head. Just looking through here. Mountain Man Music says, don't mess with military, especially the secret stuff. Those secrets will be kept until they're ready to tell us. And, you know, guys, I don't know if you keep up with the whole UFO thing. I have since I was a kid. It's a lot of fun. To me, it's like a comic book. It's not, I don't take it seriously. I've told you guys, if you've been on here before, you know how I feel about that stuff. And I even have a video about it. I think most of it's just silly. But the funniest thing is that there is this slow sort of reveal, like the Pentagon released that footage of those pilots and said, oh, we don't know what it is. And it just seems like there's something in the news almost all the time now about things in, you know, that people can't explain or whatever. It's just weird. It's just weird. Is that a soft disclosure? Talk amongst yourself. You decide. Strong says, I think there was like 2 gas stations and no cell. There is no cell service out there. Carolyn and I, a few years ago, I told you guys the story about us going to Arizona. We went to the edge of what's the Joshua Tree National Forest, and the edge of it's in California, and most of it's in Arizona. But when you're out there in the middle of the desert, there's nothing there, like literally nothing there for like hundreds of miles. I'm like, why would you put yourself through that? And if you think it's hot now, imagine being in the desert. Yes, I know it's a dry heat, but it's still like 95 degrees, man. Current Travel is another story. Says, personally, I think it is a social experiment. Hey, you know what? Maybe. I've thought about weird things that I won't even say here because it'd be like, boom, demonetized and hidden forever. But yeah, you wonder about stuff like that. It says, well, let me continue what he said. I personally think it's a social experiment to cull the population. Most of these internet challenges are, thank you for your service. Oh, it's my pleasure. You know what? When I was in the military, they paid me. I always say that when people say thank you for your service, it almost like embarrasses me. So I always say, hey, they paid me. It's all good. But no, it was a pleasure to serve in our military. I learned so much. I feel like I still owe the military. I feel like I still owe them for what I got from my service. I miss it. I miss serving. And I'll have these dreams where I'm serving all the time. And it's usually, you know, one of those weird dreams, like insecurity dreams where you can't find something. You're looking for it. It's one of those. You know, you're like, I need my M6. There's a part to my M16 that's missing. And, you know, anyway. Just catching up here. I was stationed at Fort Irwin. Fort Irwin. Man, that's a HUA base. I mean, I can't imagine being stationed there. I cannot imagine being stationed there. But it's a HUA base. If you're doing like a 2-week visit thing, it's kind of fun. Stationed at Fort Irwin, California. I know what the desert is. I bet they're hiding stuff at Fort Irwin too. I've always thought, I mean, if you're gonna hide something, that would be a great place to hide it. I've always said that. Dixie C is in the house. She said, I just got here. What's the topic? Well, actually, the topic, Dixie C, is the weather. And then from the weather, you can just go anywhere. You know, it's polite conversation. So you start out with how hot is it in your location? And then of course, we go to aliens every time. It just never fails. Bigfoot, aliens, one of those. I mean, eventually then somebody's going to make a comment about politics, and that's where it just gets crazy up in here. I'm just kidding. Play it. Area 51 is the current topic. I think it's funny that when we were kids, most of us are in the same age category here, okay? Most of us. When we were kids, Area 51, the government denied that it existed. You remember that? They denied that it existed. You know, you'd have scary movies or alien movies about Area 51, but they denied that it really existed. Even though they had an airplane taking people out there from Las Vegas there and back every day, you know, I said, oh, it doesn't exist. And it was during the Clinton administration that they actually owned up to it and said, yeah, it actually does exist. I've always thought that was weird. So in our time period, Area 51 is like a thing. Like we know where it's at. We know it's there. But that the U.S. government denied it for years is just hilarious. Mark says, Dixie, yay, good to hear from you. Yes, it is. Always. Always. There are other bases that there are some in Ohio that a lot of people, we've lost some people. They're like, I'm not talking aliens. Click. We're not trying to talk aliens. Don't leave. We're not trying to talk aliens. Ashton says, Bigfoot, aliens, don't forget ghost. Man, I never can get it. I got a friend of mine. I got the Goldstons, Leah and Mike, and they're wonderful people. They're very close friends of mine, and they do a whole house cleansing thing. They're very spiritual people. They're Christians, but man, they think there is something to that stuff, and they are all in. And I love them. So they're great friends of mine. So I believe in them. But I've just never. I don't know. When I was a kid, I was kind of fearless. As one of those kids that didn't care if it was a graveyard. That didn't bother me. It didn't scare me. I don't know why. I think it's my parents. I don't know. I just never. It never grabbed the ghost thing. Never grabbed me. No pun intended. Never grabbed me. Yeah, never saw anything in that regard, and never seen a UFO either. I've seen some stuff that now I realize they were satellites. If you watched our last video, there at the end, I show we actually got Saturn in just good enough for me to stick my cell phone up to it and take a picture. It looks terrible on the video, but I'm telling you what, if you've never gone stargazing and got a telescope, it is just awesome. I wish I could bring some of the colors out more when I do some videos like that. I'm trying to figure out or try to find out how you get some type of piece to attach to the telescope to where you could run it through the computer and record it that way. That'd be really cool. Dixie says she's visiting Bigfoot country. You're in Washington State. Oh my goodness. I bet the weather. What is the weather like in Washington State? Let us know. I bet it's cooler. It's got to be cooler there. Every time I've been to Washington, I froze in the morning in the middle of July, and it was at Mount Rainier. It was over at Fort Lewis, and you froze in the morning, and then it was hot and muggy during the day, and then you froze at night. That's how it worked up there. Mountain Man Music says, I'm a believer in ghosts. Live in a house where stuff happened. Says his guitar flew off the wall. Oh, holy cow. People died there. It was an old house. I know it's pretty unbelievable. Man, if they threw your guitar off the wall, it's obvious they like bluegrass. They don't like rock and roll. And you really need to change your style of music if you're going to live in that house. I'm just saying. You need to think bluegrass. That'll solve the entire problem. No? Maybe. Ashton says, I'm so intrigued by ghosts. Let's go ghost hunting, Uncle Bill. You'll believe, man. I'm not chasing a ghost. It's not going to happen. Not chasing a ghost. It would be scary that you just put that in the freezer. Carolyn just came in with something that I shouldn't be eating. That's all I'm going to say. It's a peanut butter parfait. Again, I know you guys catch me every time. And Dixie says, I've been freezing. Because she's in Washington State. I'm telling you, it freezes. You get cold. And I remember one morning I actually woke up and there's just like frost. And it's in the middle of July. There's this layer of this little bit of frost on my sleeping bag. It was nuts. Mark says, everybody concentrate on the item over Bill's right shoulder. Concentrate, focus. We'll travel back in time to when aliens crash. We'll find out what's really going on. Oh, Mark, you know me. Yeah, the windmill back here, it's a bit. And it's a bit that it'll play later on this year in the wintertime. I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun. It's a time traveling windmill. It's a whole lot of fun. Bill says, Bill, I will ask my son next time we talk. He has an adapter for his iPhone and his computer for the telescope. That would be awesome because I'm really interested in that. But I always forget, like once the conversation's over, I forget to go back to the computer and look it up. Like what do I need? Donald Raver says, go to Gettysburg and feel the presence of ghosts. Carolyn and I went to Gettysburg because I was an idiot and it was like 20 below zero outside. I'm like, let's go to Gettysburg. We went to Gettysburg. We were at Fredericksburg and we took the 2.5-hour drive over to Gettysburg. We spent the night there and then got up the next day and we froze. So the only presence I felt there was the presence of frostbite. And the national parks there are the military parks are a lot different than they are in the deep south. So I was trying to feel my way around and get to know that, but it was cold. I bet we only stayed an hour and a half there because it was just freezing. Yeah, but I'm not. I don't chase after ghosts because I'd be scared. I'd find one. Mark says, "Oh, he's talking to Donna Rose." Says absolutely right. So yeah, so the whole. Here's the one thing though. I don't put people that are into ghost hunting and stuff. I don't throw shade on them. And the reason why is because I talk about the UFO thing all the time. It intrigues me. So if something like that intrigues somebody else, I totally understand. I think there is a level. There's some stuff that I'm not going to get into at all because it's too far, crosses a line with me. But the whole Bigfoot thing, do you believe, I know one of my buddies, Matt Sieber, some of you guys remember, he's been on here. He hosts a website about Bigfoot. He has some interesting beliefs about Bigfoot that I won't share on here. I don't have his permission. But yeah, a lot of people really, really, really believe in Bigfoot. I've got several friends who are highly intelligent, college educated people who they will tell you there is a Bigfoot, and a couple of them have seen one. Now, how do I feel? Well, I've been in the woods my whole life, and I've never even seen anything that even resembles a Bigfoot. I've never even seen anything that's scared me in the woods that I didn't know was already there. The scariest I've ever been is just encountering a bear one time at Cades Cove. I think that's the scariest I've ever been. Mark says, or Donald says, Bill, next time you go to Gettysburg, let me know and I'll hook up. Yeah, we need to do that, Donald. We need to do that. That'd be awesome. And you can tell me what's up. And I wanted to go this summer, and time has just gotten away from us. And now it's just too hot. It's too cold in the winter. It's too hot now. It'll happen eventually. It'll happen. Mountain Man says, I take care of veterans. They talk about weird stuff like military crafts and things. Says a guy told him that Hitler wasn't dead at the end of World War II. A lot of people believe that. Man, a lot of people believe Hitler wasn't dead at the end of World War II. I had no idea that was a thing, because I've been taught my whole life, high school and college, Hitler died in a bunker, that he killed himself. And there's even a channel, there's a show, Joe Rogan had this guy on his podcast that talked about this, about how this whole show is about how Hitler went to Argentina and all this stuff. I'm like, for reals? You just wonder how valid that is. It's kind of weird. Let me see something really quick. Dixie C says something, and it was asking me. I'm like, yeah, I'm not hiding that. There's nothing wrong with what she said. Says she's never felt the presence of a ghost, but demons, yes. That's me, Dixie. That's why I don't. And it's no offense to the people who chase ghosts. Don't take this wrong. But for me, that line between ghost and demon, so I have felt that presence, and then I rebuke them in the name of Jesus. Because they're not going to share my space with me. But again, you got people like my dad, though. They are firm believers that there is some type of energy, residual energy, that would make somebody, not the individual, but create some type of atmospheric thing where you have illusions and stuff like that. And that's possible too, I guess. Dixie says Hitler was in Argentina, emphatically. Mark says, Gwen says Bigfoot is real. Her stepson, my son Phil. That is Bigfoot. Big Eric, 12325. 56, lived all my life in Pennsylvania. Bought an RV and fixed it up with solar. I'm going south for the winter. I don't blame you a bit. If you're from Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania is cold in the winter. I mean, even compared to Harrisonburg, we get a lot of snow and cold weather. For me, anyway. They said it was a mild winter. I'm thinking, man, we had 3 or 4 snows that I call a big snow. I'm like, it's a blizzard. Everybody's making fun of me, but I thought it was a big snow. But Pennsylvania, man, you guys get hit. I don't blame you for being a snowbird. I don't blame you. And try to give you some heads up too, on some great places to go down there in RV in Florida, Georgia, and places like that. Donald says, as regarding Hitler, I believe that every legend has a bit of truth to it. Well, here's what we know, some truth. We know that the U-2 boats at the end of World War II were completely diverted from their mission. They could have wreaked havoc out in the Atlantic, but they didn't, because they were going back and forth to Argentina. And we know that a lot of SS ended up in Argentina. That's a fact. So that's what leaves the door open for me to believe maybe it's possible Hitler wasn't dead. Man, that's some craziness, though. I can't even fathom that. Because that means it's like an epic fail on our military intelligence part, Bigfoot is scary to me. I'm always in the woods. He's my nemesis. Agreed. Ghost hunters and demons are pretty much the same. I don't know if they're the same. I don't know. Maybe. I think that a lot of things that cause disruption and fear, you have to look at it this way. And yeah, it's Sunday and I'm a preacher, so this kind of stuff is going to happen when we talk. You can't help it. It's just going to happen. So you don't have to bail. You just stick around. The conversation will pass to something else. But here's what you have to look at is God does not give you the spirit of fear. He gives you a spirit of empowerment when you accept His Son Christ as your Savior. That's what happens. That's what we believe as Christians. So the idea that something would cause fear and disruption, it can't be of God. So if it's not of God, it kind of narrows it down. There's no third party in the equation of Christianity. You've got God, and then you have the enemy. And it's not like a chessboard where, it's the devil versus God in this eternal game of chess. No, God's already won. The devil's a liar. And what he tries to do is to deceive people into not believing. So to me, it's something that causes fear and anxiety. That would mean you're on the dark side. But a lot of the things that people see sometimes doesn't cause them to feel any type of evil. They just see stuff. Like I said, I've never seen anything, and don't really know a whole lot of people personally who have seen stuff. I mean, we got guitars flying off the walls here, and I believe that stuff happens. I know people that's happened to, but in those, not the guitars. I mean, it was other stuff, because that's pretty unique, a guitar flying. And then there's a part of me that wants to film that because they make a good music video. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, sorry guys, y'all think I'm crazy. Donald says there is evidence that maybe the U-boat Hitler was on may have been sunk. I have no idea. And Dixie says, I ain't afraid of no ghosts, but she's not saying it like the song because that would be a copyright infringement. She's just saying she's not afraid of a ghost. See, no copyright infringed. I had a video 2 in a row, just real brief. I got to share this with you. 2 in a row, because I subscribe to a music service because I don't want my videos to ever be demonetized. And y'all know I like music. So I put music in the video. And I had 2 videos where this predatory claiming thing, where people will try to claim your videos and make your money off of it. And I had to go through this process of showing my license for the music. 2 in the past week. Such a pain. Mark says, perfect love, cast that off here. Exactly. That's good. That's a good word. Mark's going to preach, man. What kind of guitars? Stratocaster? What kind of guitars? Well, that was Mountain Man Music. Tell us about the type of guitar. Was it a Strat? We start talking about God, and it's every time. It's so funny, guys. Every time you watch your count of how many people's in the room, you'll have I don't know, we run about 12 to 17 in here, and it'll drop by 5 every time. It's hysterical. It's like, what? Just hang out. What kind of guitar? I'm curious as to what kind of guitar it was as well, because that to me is hilarious. Because if it's a Strat, that makes more sense than a Telly. Because if it's a Telly, you don't think a Telly's going to Virginia Martin. Hello, sweet sister Virginia. Always good to see you. Always good to talk to you. Virginia is a dear soul, and so glad she just lives down in Central Virginia. And I'm so grateful that you're on here. Welcome. An ESP Viper looks like a Gibson SG. Oh, well, that's why it fell off the wall, man, because it's hot. It's smoking hot. No? Okay. It'd be really cool. One of these days, I've got to film. I've got a picture or 2 up here. I got to show you guys Dad's guitar collection. It's impressive. It's impressive. And don't tell him I said this, but he's not even that good. He doesn't even need all his guitars. I get to play him sometimes, but I don't get to play enough to get him out, bring him up here. But it is really, really impressive. So if you're new and you just got here to the chat room, we've been talking about the weather, and the weather, of course, is going to lead to aliens. And then when we went to aliens, we went to ghost, and then we went from ghost to demons, and then we went to Jesus, and then now we're back to talking about guitars. That is, how do I even create tags for that kind of a discussion? Because you have to add tags later to these videos to what the video's about. I mean, that's going to mess the algorithm up something fierce. Mountain Man Music said, I play rock and roll. So people that lived there before me asked us if we saw anything when we moved. Bill, you never have enough guitars. That's what Dad says to me. There's never enough. Dad's on a fixed income, and he's always looking at me going, hey, is there enough money in the account to buy a guitar this month? And I'm like, Dad, stop it. He got a convertible a couple of weeks ago. He loves it. And Dad goes to the VA, the VFW every night with all of his army, with his, his brothers and sisters at arms, and he sends me videos of these rock bands that are playing up there. It cracks me up. Leslie, Leslie organs flying around would give me a googly eyes. That's hysterical. Yeah, if something's flying off the walls in my house, man, it's going to be everybody's getting up. Every prayer meeting has begun. We're declaring a fast right then. I mean, it's going to be some serious stuff. But still, you think about I just think about the guitar. I don't want any damage to the guitar. Red convertible and gold chains. Well, it's a convertible. What kind of a car is it, Carolyn?
It's a Mitsubishi.
It's a Mitsubishi Eclipse convertible. It's kind of classy. It's nice. He looks good in it. I enjoy Dad's enjoyment of it. I drove it one day. We went down the skyline one day, just kind of driving. And that's it, because I don't will take his, I don't want to drive his car. It's his car, and let him enjoy it. He babies it. It's Dad needed this. I'm glad he's got. Dad needed something to kind of motivate him. This seems to really have motivated him. Donald said back had to drop out and come back. Well, welcome back, Donald. Glad to see you. Mountain Man Music said, that's why I don't follow people that I know. I agree. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. But making sure that I've got that right. So that's the coolest part about living in this area, though, is this is a nice convertible area. You know what I mean? That we have lots of days where the temperatures are right. But even in the convertible right now, it's too hot. It's raining right now. If I look outside, we got some, drizzle and stuff, which is awesome. Because we're just glad it got cooler. Says, oh, come on, please. Mark's talking about the kind of car. That's my fault. He had his eye on a convertible. I know buying American, because I'm like that too. I kind of lean buying American. That's just me. Our family's originally from Detroit. I was born in Detroit. I've spent most of my life in the South, but I'm a Motown guy. I'm a Motor City guy. So I'm always buy American. But it was in this car lot just down the road. He had his eye on it, and the price was right. So Donald says, it's pouring here with thunderstorms. I'm just glad it's cooling off for some people. They said that next week it's going to get a lot cooler, and we're all going to get this reprieve from all this heat. So I'm really hoping that's the case, because it's been, I know a lot of our people that work outside, man, they're telling me they're just in there. When I see them at church or at an activity during the week, man, their eyes are sunken in because they've been out just beating down the sun and work. The sun's kind of working against them. So I'm glad it's cooling off. So the other thing in the news is that the new James Bond is here. We got Bond 25, James Bond. Daniel Craig's going to play it, and then the next James Bond is allegedly, you ready for this? A female. What do you think about a female James Bond? Let's just go for it right now. What do you think? A female James Bond. Are we ready for this? Should we be ready for this? What do you think? A female James Bond. Can James Bond be a female? I don't know. I need Carolyn's help on this one. I don't know. Can James Bond be a woman?
No.
Carolyn says no. I don't know. Juan Thomas says, I wait for snow. I love to see everything white. Juan, I love the snow. I love it in its proper seasons, but I got to admit, living here, winter drug out longer. I felt that since in about March, where it kind of drug on a little bit longer, but it was okay. Big Eric says, if you have spokes, put on the full armor of God and say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That's what I believe. Absolutely. Somebody say, I don't know what we're talking about. All I see is Donald saying nope and Mark saying wrong and Eric saying no. I don't know what we're talking about. I must have missed something here. Or is it something I said? I don't know. I have no idea what you guys are saying no and wrong about. You got to give me something on the side there. Pouring here with thunderstorms. Then Mark retracted a message. Oh, we're talking about James Bond. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm the one that asked the question. Duh. Are you coming in the room? The chat room? Oh, okay. My bad. So, okay. I don't see how you get I think it's not James Bond if there's a woman. I mean, it just isn't. James Bond, there's a certain character there. And you have to be true to that character. And I don't think that character gets to evolve. I think that's what makes him dark. I think that's what makes him interesting. And I enjoyed the Daniel Craig's version of James Bond, especially in Casino Royale, because it was darker. He's a spy. He's not good. He's not necessarily all good, and he's a womanizer. He uses drugs. He drinks. He's not a good person. So I don't know if we want that. I don't think anyone's asked for that. Or maybe they have. I don't know. I didn't know anybody wanted an all-female Ghostbusters cast either. But hey, we got one, whether we needed it or not. And I'm definitely not afraid of the ghost on that particular Ghostbusters movie. However, I have heard that they're rebooting Ghostbusters again, and that's going to be interesting. Big Eric says, a Bond girl. Yeah, but it's not a Bond girl. It's a Bond, the James Bond, like Janie Bond. Just doesn't sound good. Female Jane Bond. There you go. Donald just put it up there. Jane Bond. Juan Thomas says spies come in both genders. Yes, Juan, and we know that you would know all about that. In case you didn't know it, Juan Thomas is our resident CIA agent. We always have to have one per podcast, and this is ours. Is Juan? He's our resident CIA agent. It's just this is an old bit of humor that goes back about 7 months. Anyway, spies do come in both genders, but do you call her James Bond? I mean, let's invent another character and let's enjoy that character. I love movies where women are the protagonist or the antagonist. I'm all for that. I don't understand why we're recasting for, or redeveloping plot lines and putting females in those roles when they have invent new ones and put them in front. The new Star Wars movie, I didn't like The Last Jedi, but I loved The Force Awakens. We had a female protagonist. Our main hero was a female, Rey. I loved it. I thought it was great. We didn't have to make a new Luke Skywalker and call her Lucy Skywalker. And she's like the new Jedi. She's, on the farm. No, we have Rey Skywalker. She's a different character. That's just me. Mark says cultural diversity. I like cultural diversity. I guess that's my point is I don't know if we're being diverse if we're just changing the sexes of our main characters. I don't think that's diversity. I think that's a storm and an argument that nobody asked for. I think it's a mistake. I just do. A woman as the new Thor. Is that happening? Big Eric says a woman as the new Thor. Thorina. Maybe. A woman as the new Thor. Nobody asked for that either. I don't guess. Is an English runner. Mark says, let's go totally diverse. 007 is an English runner duck. I don't even know what a runner duck is. True, and a new name for her would be best. That's what I'm saying is put it in the same universe with James Bond and let's give her some storylines and I'm there. I'm going to enjoy that. Give her a storyline and make her as complicated and broken as the James Bond character really is. Ian Fleming's work about this spy has him as a womanizing, drunken. Come on, guys. That's what James Bond is. I mean, they glorified that in yesteryear. I think this particular batch of James Bond movies have done a better job at saying this guy's deeply flawed. Let's have a female character who's in that universe and she's flawed just like him. That'd be interesting to watch. A good case study for the hero cycle and all that good stuff. I just don't know why you have to replace. To me, it's just a controversy where there doesn't have to be a controversy. What do I know? Dixie says, I know people will want to see the new James Bond movie, but I could be wrong. Bond has a certain mystique. Yeah, I agree totally. Beautiful women love Bond. It'll be too weird. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to go see a movie with a female James Bond. It's not because I don't like women or I'm a misogynist. Not at all. I just think it's a bore. It's like a generic movie. Do you guys remember? I know this is a stretch. You know how you had Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Okay, I know this is a stretch. Just go with me on it. You have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but then because of the success of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you had these Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer New Year special, then Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer like Halloween special. Anybody remember that? And it was stupid. It was like, that's not what Rudolph is about. Rudolph is about Christmas. Nobody else. Okay, anyway, I told you it was a stretch. But that's what it feels like. It feels like a generic conversation. It doesn't feel authentic. There are so many movies that we could make in that universe and expand the universe and then do like Marvel does, where she's in that universe and he's in that universe, and maybe they bump into each other occasionally and they have their own mind games that they play against each other. And then it starts building up this romance that we want to see happen later, but it never does. They just keep teasing you with it. Come on, man. That's good movie making magic, as opposed to this. I don't know. It's just crazy. Big Eric, are you sure that the new movie coming out, Thor, is going to be a woman? Are you sure about that? I really hope not, because I mean, then it's just like I'm done. Because it's just silly. Bond movies did have a strong female in Halle Berry. She could have carried a spy series. I thought she could. I loved Halle Berry in that movie, and everybody in that particular James Bond movie, it got bashed pretty hard. That movie but it wasn't her fault. It's bad writing. And so we didn't get to see that develop. Mark says, I'm remembering a game called Operation One, something in that range. I remember the game Operation. Used to scare me to death when I was a little kid. Linda Massing, I've never seen a Bond flick. but don't like a female in that role. Well, now come on, Linda, if you've never seen it, I mean, you gotta, I don't know. I guess everybody has a right though to kind of chime in on this one. I can't wait to see the backlash. This has got both Ghostbusters 2016 written all over it. It really does before it's even out of the bag. A part of me thinks it's a press thing where they're just getting the information out there to kind of mess with the press, just get people talking about James Bond. As a part of me thinks that it's just junk. No, Mark, a real operation at VA. I'm lost in this part of the conversation. I don't know what we're talking about there. Something about an operation at VA and Juan say, no, it's a real operation at VA. Juan says, if they made the female a sidekick who became the lead actor when the lead got killed, I could deal with that. You know what? Okay. All right. Okay. So in other words, a story where you've got a strong female lead with a Bond character, and maybe he's showing the ropes or whatever, and he dies. That's okay. I can deal with that. But you're not going to get you're going to have like 4 or 5 movies before you get your James Bond kick back in. I don't know. Here's the whole thing. I will give any movie a try for the most part, except I did not give Ghostbusters 16 a try until it was out on video. Mainly because it looked really goofy. It didn't have anything to do with women being in the lead. The trailer was horrible, and it looked like a miserable movie. And sure enough, it was terrible. It was just awful. I felt so sorry for the women who were on that movie because they're great actresses, and they all deserve their own movies and their own lead parts, and they deserve to make lots of money because they're amazing. But that movie was terrible. And it wasn't their fault. It was bad writing and overkill on some things. The truth of the matter is that movie shouldn't have happened. It just shouldn't have happened. It was bad writing. Mark says, what happens to Miss Moneypenny becomes Mr. Dollar Dillon? Mark? Miss Moneypenny, when they rebooted the James Bond franchise, they did it brilliantly. I absolutely loved Miss Moneypenny's role. I love that actress anyway. She played on the movie version of Miami Vice way back in the day. And what was it? What was that, Carol? 2005 when that came out. It's one of our favorite movies.
I don't remember which one was it. I'm sorry.
Miami Vice. The director's cut. If you ever watched the Miami Vice movie, if you haven't seen it, you need to see the director's cut. Do not see the theatrical release. It's horrible. Now, there's a few scenes that you're going to have to fast forward through because it's just not good. But overall, it was 2006. Yeah. But overall, it's a fantastic, fantastic movie. Michael Mann, I think, directed that. He did awesome. It got panned by the critics. There was no way that movie was going to satisfy everybody because everybody that's in my age group, you probably watched Miami Vice, and nobody really knew what to expect. But I thought it was brilliant. Carolyn, Mark says, "Oh, okay, you're on. I didn't know you were back on. Okay, great. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Carolyn. It's always good to have her when she's on the stream because she actually keeps me focused a little bit on here." And it helps out a great deal to keep me focused on what everybody's talking about. And again, we've talked about the weather and talking about how hot it is. It's still raining outside here. And we've talked about Area 51. There's some other things that have been on the news. But first, before that, one of the things that you can't talk about, they said, is you can't talk about controversial news events. Like you can get demonetized for talking about, which I suspect that's going to happen with this video anyway, if you want the truth, because the algorithm is very sensitive. But we've kind of got this thing going on over in another country right now where there's been like some things stolen. I'm trying to dance all around it and it's just not working. So in the news, there's a thing where we could possibly go to war. It's too late. It's over.
You're making it demonetized.
So the Iran situation. Anybody want to chime in on what's going on in Iran? I've got to hear. I mean, we've talked about the weather. We might as well talk about Iran. What is going on here? I feel like our president is being pushed towards war, am I crazy? And Iran is just the enemy, and they're evil, and all that stuff. Because I'm having a hard time. All of you, jump in. Somebody just bailed right there. I got to go. They just cooked 2 people. Anybody? Don't everybody type at once. I'll probably drop down to 5 viewers here in just a minute. Because I'm just curious because an oil tanker was seized. The Iranians seized an oil tanker. And I don't know the details right now as far as where that's going. I can check real quick and see whether or not. I don't know if you guys use Drudge. I use Drudge because it's simple headlines. But it says, dramatic moment, Iran forces hijack British oil tanker. And I think that was yesterday. The UK Navy tried to thwart the attack, but apparently they hijacked the British oil tanker. And then the next headline is new U.S. war looming. So what does that mean? I mean, are we about to go to war? So let's look at this. Dixie says, down with Drudge. Hey, help me out, Dixie. Why is it people don't like Drudge? When I go to Drudge, all I'm doing is looking for headlines. So what's evil about Drudge? Give me the lowdown, because I know there's people that really hate Drudge. So help me figure out what's wrong with Drudge, because I honestly don't know. I don't have a clue. Dixie says the deep state, and you don't have to say it out loud. Oh, am I not supposed to say it? Oh, Mark says, oh, Bill, you've done it now. I already know what's going on right now as far as this goes. I already lost 2 other people. That's so funny. Donald says, brinkmanship. Taking us to the brink of war. Mark says, they are dissatisfied because they have no soda shovel. Mark. Oh, see, that's the kind of conversation I'm looking for here. Juan says, I don't think Iran is pushing. If they go too far, I say boom on their heads. I'm tired of this. Beating around the bush needs to stop. I don't think George Bush has anything to do with this. Okay, I'm sorry. Cheesy. Really? I know. It was cheesy. I don't know. You know, it shows up in the as soon as I made the cheesy joke, somebody like, they're gone, bang. I don't think it really has anything to do well, let me word it this way. I can't seem to get my head around why Iran would want to be in a position to go to war. I mean, just think about it. It's kind of like the Area 51 thing. Are you really wanting to do this? Some people have compared this to the Gulf of Tonkin. Is that possible? Because we now know the Gulf of Tonkin incident wasn't an incident. That's official. That's, you know, I've studied that my whole life. That the Gulf of Tonkin is why we went to Vietnam. And it turns out it didn't happen. It was embellished. And it was, for lack of a better word, you could call it a false flag. Marion. Oh my gosh. Hello, Marie. What's up, my sister? How are you? We're keeping the conversation light tonight, Marie. We're talking about the weather, Area 51, and Iran. Join in, talk amongst yourself there with your family. Chime in when you like. Big Eric says, Trump will not go to war. Iran is desperate, no money left. They are taking ships that are not theirs. UK said they will take them back. So I think it's just a diversion, like a news headline diversion. Dixie C says, liberals hate Trump. Drudge capitalizes on hurting the president. You think so? See, I've never noticed that. I mean, Drudge to me just puts anything on his page that's going to get clicks. You know, so if an alien is you know, with Hillary Clinton and they have a baby and it's in the sun there in Britain, they're going to have, you know, he's going to put that link on the website. You're probably right though, because it is clickbait to see President Trump in some kind of trouble or tweet war, even though nobody cares anymore. I mean, really, nobody cares. When Donald Trump tweets, most people don't care. But unless you see 5 headlines related to the tweet, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to click on that one, and then you watch it. So maybe you're right. Marie says, good bedtime stories. I remember Marie and I, when we were kids, obviously she's a relative of mine, a very, very close relative. She's my aunt, but it's kind of like we're close in age. So she's more like my sister kind of thing, you know, dude, it's your sister. No, I'm kidding. I remember we watched The Twilight Zone when we were kids. It's the 80s, you know, so The Twilight Zone was like yesterday to us. And we watched the Talking Tina episode. And because we were talking about Ghost earlier, and we watched the Talking Tina episode, and it scared us to death. We were down in their basement there in Michigan, and it scared us to this day. When I see a porcelain doll, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. My name is Talking Tina, and I don't like you. Oh, scary right now. I'm scared. Marie says, hey, Carolyn, 18 months apart. Whoop, whoop. That's exactly right. Juan Thomas said he tweets to get their goat, and the Dems fall for it every time. Man, if I were a Democrat, like by birth, like if I'd grown up a Democrat, I think what I would tell the Democrat Party, I'd be like, stop falling for that. I feel sorry for him. I'm like, he tweets something and they all bite. and they think that they think people are watching. Maybe people are watching that. I was looking at some of the demographics, like MSNBC and stuff, and it seems like they are emerging as a voice for a pretty good size of America, more so than they were during the last election. That being said, overall viewership of all media is down. So I don't know what that means. Every time I think I've got this figured out, I lose. Mark says, well, Mark said it and then he redacted it. He took it back. It's like Mark said, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not saying that. So yeah, I don't know about any type of war in Iran. It's like when I hear war drum sound anymore, I always look at the other news and see what's being, what we're kind of distracting from watching. Pay no attention to the man behind the mirror, and meanwhile you've got something really serious going on and something that happens all the time. There for a while, it was about us coming close to Chinese, their Navy, China's Navy and our Navy bumping into each other. Russian airplanes bumping into our airplanes. But folks, that goes on all the time. That's not news. That's gone on since the end of World War I or World War II. And really, it's probably gone on throughout all of history. Superpowers mess with each other all the time and they play games. But as soon as you need a diversion, those little stories make a good diversion. Inquirer says Trump wears flood pants. You got to do what you got to do, Mark. You got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. Marie, how is the weather up in Michigan if you're still with us? What's going on up there? Dixie Chick says, we have a new source. I don't watch the news media, but I watch YouTube news people. That's good and bad. Like I do the same thing. I watch like 85. I watch liberal sources. I watch Jimmy Dore, and he is I'm talking progressive liberal socialist. I mean, he'll tell you. Okay, but he's also a Catholic Christian, and he's a different kind of guy. But I watch him to listen to other viewpoints to know what my viewpoints might be up against or some other considerations. I watch all kinds of stuff, so I do the same thing. I still watch mainstream news occasionally, but most of the time I just hear 30 minutes worth of politics. I really don't hear news. And so, and YouTube is getting very difficult to find news sources. It's not like it used to be. It used to be you could find 50 different YouTube channels covering not just commentary on current events, but they had correspondents who were there, and it was wonderful. And you just don't see a lot of that as much now. Marie says, I'm in Florida. Here in Florida. I know it's hot in Florida. I was about to ask you how the weather. It's hot. It's hot. We're in Florida. How hot do you think it is? Mark says, I hear Iran is offering free snow removal to its citizens. What is he talking about? Marie says, however, it's hotter than Michigan. It's hotter in Michigan than it is here. I noticed that with the map that I was looking at earlier, that there are some places in the deep south that are actually cooler than it is up in New York. And like you were saying, in Michigan, it can get hot around Detroit in the summertime. I remember that as a kid. It's like a swamp there anyway. It can get very hot there. 106-degree heat indexes. Man, I can't imagine that. I don't know what our heat index was the other day here in Harrisonburg, but it had to be astronomical. It was 97 degrees, and it just doesn't get that hot here. Not normally, but this year it does. So there you go. That's what we'll finish our last segment here, the last 10 minutes talking about. Global warming. Is the weather we're experiencing? Well, you might as well. The video's demonetized already. The video's demonetized already the minute I brought up any type of current event. So you might as well talk about it. So is the current weather we're experiencing now a product of global warming? What is your opinion? Let me know what you think. Big Eric says, we are the news now. WWG1, WGA. Big Eric, you got a YouTube channel, man? I haven't checked it if you do. I was going to say, if you do, feel free to plug it. You guys can plug all your stuff there. For instance, I'm not sure if he's with us now because he left us. He might have had to jump out. He's got his own YouTube channel, but it's a cooking channel. It's one of my favorite channels on YouTube, and that's Strong's Adventure. Bill over there, they do cooking channel, and Bill got me his YouTube channel got me back in the mood to like do some smoking stuff with meats and stuff outdoors. So we've been doing going to the Skyline Drive and grilling chicken, and now I'm wanting to go up there and spend 8 hours and smoke some chicken and stuff like that. No, I don't mean like, that's not some type of code for something else. Like literally you take chicken and smoke the chicken. Liberal with the heat. What did Big Eric say? We are the news now. Dixie's saying the same thing. Yes. Juan says, no, climate change is neutral. Or he says, come to Michigan in the winter and use the term global warming. I can imagine going up there to one of those one of those Christmases we used to have in Michigan where there's like 2 or 3 feet of snow on the ground. I remember Anna when she was just barely walking, and she gets out of the Cadillac and she literally just sunk down into the snow over her head. And I just looked down and went, Michigan. Well, because I love visiting up there. But yeah, we have a lot of snow in Michigan. And I'm sure if you mention how cold, there's global warming in Michigan, you're just going to be called a fruitcake when it's that cold. But again, there is a difference though between climate and weather. Weather is what you're experiencing right now. Climate is the overall temperature. I'm still, here's the thing. I used to be totally against the whole global warming thing, but it is possible that we've heated up. I think one of the recent studies said maybe 0.001% over the past decade or something like that. I don't know. Let's see. Donald says, one of the things about global warming that very few people are talking about is the fact that we are entering a new elliptical orbit with the sun, and that happens to be every 400,000 years. That's something that the new algorithm has really put a stop to, is a lot of the talk about space weather and how the weather in space actually affects our weather here. I don't have permission to plug some of these channels, so I'm not going to. There are some very informative channels that are extremely interesting that show different viewpoints of why the Earth maybe, if it is increasing in temperature, that if it's increasing so dramatically that it might have more to do with space weather. I heard somebody say the other day that global climate change, that if you say that you don't believe in climate change, that it's the same as being a flat earther. That I kind of have a problem with. That bothered me, that somebody that actually is dumb enough to say that. I'm like, no, man, I think it's not a matter of, it's a matter of a lot of times you don't see the numbers. It does, because I did this study last year. I wanted to get to the bottom of it once and for all, and I didn't. I never got to the bottom of it. I kept trying to figure it out to determine whether or not I believed in climate change or not. And at the end of it, I'm like, oh man, I just don't know. It's tough. Obviously, our temperatures have increased over the past 50 years. A little in some places, and in some places they've gone down. And see, that confuses me. I need an expert to kind of help me understand that. Virginia Martin says the government is causing global warming. Of course, look up at the chemtrails. Dun, dun, dun. You know what? I am the weird person who thinks it's not that I'm convinced that they're spraying stuff all the time, but they got to be spraying something, man. When I was a kid, when y'all were kids, there weren't as many chemtrails as there are now. Come on, people. Virginia, I'm with you. There's something where I don't know if they're causing global warming, but there's something about chemtrails. They're weird. It is. You can be on the skyline and you can see like 18 of them spraying, and you're like, what is this? Now I'm getting into the conspiracy zone. This video is definitely being demonetized. It's over. It's over. It is over. All the hot air is from the 4 Dems opening their mouth. The 4 horsemen, some people are calling them now, the 4 horsemen of Congress. Golly. I got to admit, those 4 get on my nerves because they are causing more division. Man, they're causing division in their own party. I don't think Nancy knows what to do with them. They are annoying. And what's her name? OC? What's her name? I don't want to say her name wrong and be disrespectful. But she's a fruitcake. Somebody will probably jump in here, but she's as nutty as a fruitcake and crazy. She's just crazy and gets on my nerves so bad. Somebody can remind me of what her name is. But she just says stupid stuff sometimes. She says that climate change is our World War II. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not even close. Even if climate change, if the worst scenarios of what people are saying about climate change, which I think the latest I heard was like in 15 years, it's going to be too late and all this other stuff. Let's say all that's true. It's still not World War II. It's still not as bad as World War II. I think that is a grotesque misunderstanding of what World War II was, or World War I for that matter. World War II was the attempt of a global takeover by one country. That was what World War II was. And man, they came close to doing it. So sometimes people say stupid stuff. Marion says the Chemtrails are my favorite punk band. I've never heard their music, but I'm going to have to look it up if that's real, because if it's not real, it should be. That should be the name of my band. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chemtrails. That'd be awesome. Okay. Did you like my guitar there? Somebody signed off as soon as I did that. My number just dropped by 1, 15, 14. Mark says, Gwen says not as scary as their voters. That's a good point. Like, seriously, like, who's voting for them? Somebody did. Some of the hatred that comes out of their mouth too. I don't understand why they talk about Trump's hate speech, and they never identify or talk about how hateful that what comes out of their mouths. I just don't get it. Daisy Chick, good to see you again as always. Love to see you next time, and you be good. And we'll try to sign on live more often. Ray Marion said, it's not. I don't know what you're referring to though. It's not. I don't remember. Oh, it's not. Sorry. It takes me a minute, Marie. It takes me a second. Donna Robertson, speaking of the 4 congresswomen, did anybody see that Miniosi has stopped making videos? I'd say somebody told her to stop because she looks like an idiot. Yeah, I got it now, Marie. It's like, it's not a real band. And for a minute, I thought so. Mark said, LOL at the guitar riffs. Hey, Bill and Ted is coming soon. Does anybody know the release date of Bill and Ted? I think they waited way too long to make this movie because Keanu Reeves looks older. The other dude, nobody knows his name. He looks older. So I'm thinking, how are they going to make this movie halfway funny? I'm trying to figure that out. But they're making a Bill and Ted movie. That should be hilarious.
August 21st.
August 20, this year?
2020, sorry.
No, 2020.
Yeah,
so we got to look forward to that. Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted is amazing. Guys, it has been wonderful talking with you. Marie, excellent. Love you, Marie. It's good to see you. And for all of you guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to try to go on live more. I appreciate it. I'll probably have to take this video down after YouTube gets a hold of me. But you guys have a fantastic night. And love you too. And if you need anything, if you want to talk or chat or have any questions about our YouTube channel, feel free to join us at Bill Marion Life. That's at Bill Marion. Send us a message. We'll try to get back with you. And please watch all of our videos. And please share those videos. When you see one of our videos, sharing those videos helps it so much. So thank you so much. You guys have a fantastic night. See y'all later.